Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Now today I'm going to be reviewing this classic Kinks album. I'm going to be looking at Arthur, or The Decline and Fall of the British Empire. Bit of a mouthful there, but anyway I will be giving a bit of background information about the album, showing you the vinyl copy, and then going over each song, giving each song a score, and then what will be used to give us an overall percentage for the album. So this was the Kinks' 7th studio album, released on the 10th of October in 1969. The album came about by Ray Davies, that was approached by Granada Television to help write and make the musical soundtrack to a proposed television play, TV special, drama thing. And he was helped by a guy called Julian Mitchell to come up with a storyline. However, the TV special never got made. It kept getting delayed, and by which point the album was ready to be released without this accompanying TV special. Roughly, it tells a story it is sort of outlined on the back the story of the TV special what was going to be made. But roughly it tells the story of a man living in London in a big house called Shangri-La on this album, and his family has emigrated to Australia following the Second World War. So it's sort of an amalgamation of lots of different themes and ideas, and that doesn't really tell much of a narrative, but it does have these sort of different themes sort of run through the album. Making it though was a rough time for the Kinks. Basically, the band's last couple of albums and singles had all been flops, and bassist Pete Quaife had left the band. He was replaced though on this album by a guy called John Dalton, and the album was recorded throughout May in Pye Studios in London. When it was released, the album got a lot of critical acclaim from the underground music press, especially in America, and it was sort of it was compared to the Who's Tommy album as far as being a concept album, what has a story running through it, and Rolling Stone magazine called it the best British album of 1969, which is quite something compared to you think Abbey Road and Tommy also came out that year. Despite the critical acclaim it was getting, it was pretty much a commercial failure. It failed to chart in the British charts and only reached 105 in the American Billboard Top 200s. However, it did stay in the American charts for about 20 weeks. Well, look story what I read, apparently to try and increase sales of this album, the record company was going to create fake stories and that sort of marijuana possession of the band and tax evasion to give them a bit more press and get them more publicity and that. But Ray Davies thought that the idea was stupid and it never went ahead. But following the album though, the band went on a American tour, basically following the band they were banned in America throughout the mid-60s. By this point though, that ban was lifted, and they were able to start touring again, and they would eventually come back in the following year, 1970, with a hit single, Lola. So I'm now just going to show you my vinyl copy here. This isn't anything too special, this is just a reissue. I believe this is from I think it's 2015, 2014 maybe, but it is a reissue though, nonetheless. So there's the front cover. Not a big fan of the front cover myself. There's the back of it there, rather plain, just to read pictures of the band members. But the gatefold though is pretty random, doesn't really fit with the album. Well, supposedly there's a song called Australia on it, but yeah, just a big kangaroo there, so a bit random I guess. Inside here though, we have a lyric inner sheet there, just lyrics on one side, and a lovely portrait of Queen Victoria on the other. The record here is just on black vinyl and just on this Kinks custom label here. Nice pressings, these ones here. I've got most of the other reissued albums because the originals just go for stupid money, and it is probably best to get these reissues. I believe this is in stereo. I think it's in stereo as far as I know. They also done a mono version as well, but I think by this point mono was coming out of fashion, and stereo was the way that most people were buying their music. So I'm now just going to go over all of the album songs. I will give each song a score out of 10, and then those will be used to give us an overall percentage for the album. So we open up with the song Victoria, which is a great opening song, really good rocking track. Nice guitar sound on this one here, nice guitar riff from Dave Davies. Vocals on this a little weird, so like he's got like this, he's singing it quite low, so like a funny like effect on it. But like, I think it works. I think it is like a good rocking song, very like patriotic like lyrics, sort of celebrating like Queen Victoria and like everything like that. Yeah, like rocking song, nothing like on like the previous album, Village Green Preservation Society, really rocked like as hard as this song does. This was the lead single from the album, reaching number 62 in like the US charts, which is actually like the highest charting position since the song Sunny Afternoon charted, this was a comeback of sorts, reaching number 30 in the UK charts. Second song up is called Yes Sir No Sir, and I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. I think this is a really underrated gem from like the Kinks catalogue. I just think it's fantastic. Starts off with like this sort of like this march and drum sound, and then like the lyrics are quite like sort of like an anti-war theme what's going on like in this song, which I really like. Sort of goes through like these different sections, and like it never gets boring, this song. It is like about like a 4 to 5 minute song, but it just goes through like so many different little sections. It really is a great song, fantastic production, very sort of, not too polished, but it's certainly, I think, is better produced than like Village Green Preservation Society, and like this song is just one of my personal favourites from the album. Next song is called Some Mother's Son, and I'm giving this a 8 out of 10. A slightly slower song, but it does carry on like the anti-war feeling of like the previous one. Like I'm not a biggest fan of like the actual style what like this song is done in, but it is quite a nice like melody to it. It does have like some very vivid and like illustrative lyrics to it. So yeah, like overall, I really do like this song, and like I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Next one up is called Driving, and I will give this a 7 out of 10. It is like a good sort of carefree song, sort of like about like forgetting like your troubles and like just going for like a drive in like the country. So like quite like summery song. This was also released as the first single from the album, which I think it was kind of like a weak like first single that was sort of like represented through like the chart positions. It failed to chart like when it was released as like the debut single for the album. And like yeah, like I don't think it was like a good single to sort of like present this album with. But it is a decent album cut, but certainly not a song that I would really play too much like in isolation of the album. Same kind of thing with like the next one is a song called Brainwashed, and I'll give this a 7 out of 10. Also a more upbeat rocking song, good like guitar riff what starts off this track. But like it kind of just doesn't really go anywhere for me, and like it is quite like it's not very memorable. Like I said, that like it's got like a good guitar riff, which like, I've noted down from like just like listening to it. But like I can't like really like remember it. I just try to think like what the song goes like. It's like a little bit tricky just to like sort of get like your head like going like as to like remembering this song. I think it's good, but it's nothing too amazing. Just sort of like I don't want to call it like album filler, but it is just like an average song. Now closing side one, we have the song Australia, which I would give a 7 out of 10 to. I really like this song. I think it's like got some good lyrics on it. It's like Arthur's family are like trying to convince him to move to like Australia, like where they live, and like move down under and like live with them and that. Like it's a good song, so good like rhythmic changes throughout the song. It doesn't really get too boring. However, I would say like it is like a little bit drawn out towards the end. Sort of like ends with like a jam sort of thing, like with like the band, and that doesn't really go like anywhere. And I don't want to say like it drags the song out, because it is like quite pleasant, and like they are quite tightly performed like on this song. But it isn't like one of like my favourites like from the album like again, and like but certainly like the bit like the end like where like they're just like jamming, it doesn't really detract from like the song. But then again, it doesn't really add like anything. So like I think I'll just stick with like a 7, which is what I would give to like the song, like even if it didn't have like the extended fade out. And now opening up side 2, we have a really underrated Kinks classic in my book, a song called Shangri-La. Great song. Starts off really soft, just like an acoustic guitar with like Ray Davies vocals on top of it. Really, really nice. But then it slowly gets more like multi-layered and like develops like as we go through the song. I love like the wee middle section where it's, I think it's like all the houses in the street all look the same. They've all got a name, and like sort of like a good, really great like production, great brass arrangement to the song. Just a really fantastic track. The song is very much like a fan favourite, like off like the Kinks. However, this was released as the second single from the album, and like it actually failed to chart, which is a little bit shocking considering how great the song is. Certainly for me, would feature in like the upper reaches of like my top 10 Kinks songs. It's just an amazing track. And now the second song on side 2 is called Mr. Churchill Says, and this is a kind of slightly weaker one. Like I still give it like a 7 out of 10 though, because it does have like a good guitar break in like the middle. It does break up the song a little bit, and like it means that like it doesn't like drag on as much. However, like the main sort of verse and like melody and like lyrics to it are like kind of like weak. Like they don't really go like anywhere too much. But like as I said, like the wee like guitar break like in the middle like does break up the song, and like it does sort of like add something. Like without that, the song would probably be like about like a 5 or like a 6 out of 10. So certainly like on like this album, like they knew how to make a song like not become boring. Like they could like put like different elements like within songs to keep like you interested, like even in like these slightly weaker songs. He's brought a hat like Anthony. Next song though on the album, I would say is the weakest on the album, is a song called She Bought a Hat Like Princess Maria's. And this is a decent song, sort of like lyrics about sort of wealth and like buying like material goods to sort of show and to sort of like show like your wealth and like try and like impress people. And like again, it goes through like a lot of like different stages and that, and like it gets like interesting like throughout like the musical like arrangement to this song. Yeah, like it doesn't just stay on like the one piece. However, towards the end, it does get like a little bit silly, a little bit like drawn out, and just kind of like God, when's this gonna end sort of thing. But like overall, decent song, but would be my least favourite on the album. Next one is a track called Young and Innocent Days, which I would give a 7 out of 10 to. This is a good change of pace for the album. It is a nice, slower acoustic number, nice arrangement, but like really like on balance, a rather forgettable melody. And like it isn't a song that I would play like in isolation like of the album. Like it just sort of fits on the album quite nicely, but doesn't really do like too much for me. Second to last song now is called Nothing to Say, which I do quite like. I would give this an 8 out of 10. Another mighty fine song, nice like piano part to it, and like it's like a good catchy chorus to it as well. Maybe this one could have worked slightly earlier on like in the album, but I think but I think the actual song itself is like just a good album track. So yeah, an 8 out of 10 for that one. And now the closer to the album is the title song Arthur, which I really like. It is a great song to finish the album, just sort of rounds up like the whole story and like the whole themes of like the album. Like I really think it works well, and like it is just like a good feel-good song. I think it's a very catchy song, like the chorus, like the Don't You Know It bit. It's all like works like a good like sing-along track almost. So yeah, like a fitting end to like a pretty good album. So overall, it would be a score of 79% for this album. So overall, a good album, I'd say. For me though, it is kind of like the Kinks were never a great albums band, which I know that like a lot of people like might like contest that opinion. However, I feel like they made great singles. Songs like Dead End Street, Dedicated Follower of Fashion, Autumn Almanac, these were never on albums, and like also Days as well. If that was on this album, that would have been another 10 out of 10 song like to add to this album, and I probably would have pushed it like into like the 80%. So I think that like they could have like maybe put like that song on the album, maybe like instead of something like the Princess Maria Hat song, or maybe like Brainwashed or something like that, just to like give like another hit single like on this album. Yeah, so I think this has some amazing songs on it. I mean, stuff like Victoria, Yes Sir, No Sir, some other song, like a good like 3 songs to start the album really well. Then side 1 kind of like loses focus a little bit. Side 2 starts brilliantly with Shangri-La, and then closes fantastically with like the title song Arthur. But then like in like the middle of side 2, there's not too much like highlights for me like in like the middle like of side 2. So like yeah, like a slightly mixed bag of like really like amazing songs and like slightly more average to good tracks. The thing I really like about this album though is like even like the more like filler songs. I mean stuff like the Princess stuff like She Got a Hat like Princess Maria and like Australia and like Mr. Churchill Said, they are like little like operas like within like themselves. They do go through these stages. They have like wee narratives that like run through the songs and like they do go to different places and that. So I can think that like it's a very cleverly constructed album. And like even like the songs themselves are like really like cleverly constructed as well. Now, like, and like the other like good thing about this album for me is like the songs that like you can play them like in like isolation. Like it's not like Tommy or like The Wall like where like you really need to listen to like it all like in full. If like you wanted to listen to like Some Mother's Son or like Drivin, like you could just listen to them. Like you don't need to have like the whole sort of story behind like those songs to make them work. But then equally though, I'd say that like them being part of like this album does certainly enhance like the quality of like some of those songs, and like also like the production as well is certainly like among like the best production what I've heard like from the Kinks catalogue. Quite polished sound, but still raw around the edges. Stuff like Victoria and like Brainwashed and like the end of like Australia. Like it does retain. Like the thing what made like the Kinks great, they were just a great tight band, like great at like performing and like just like really like rocking out like when they wanted to. Yeah, overall a pretty good album there. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed. I'd like to know what you think of this album down below in the comments, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.